Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 9 edition of the Fantasy 4, walking you through a whole bunch of fantasy-relevant information, news, notes, players we like, players we don't like, really a catch-all on the games, and sprinkling a little discussion about the lines, what we like, what we don't like. If you haven't already, go to our website, www.thefantasy4.com. Subscribe. You'll be entered to win a Justin Herbert jersey. And if you are a little more interested in some gamesmanship, we got the weekly pick'em challenge. You go onto the website, you make your picks. If you beat us, our combined average on the week, you get a ticket. If you beat us at the end of the year, you get 20 tickets. And then we do a raffle for 1,000 big ones, lots of cash money, lots of things to do with 1,000 buckaroos. Extra points for the rhymes. Mystic Mo, Big E, Zebo. Stens is no longer with us.
Please.
Prayers up.
And in his place.
Every time he dies, you get me. And because this is a week that I'm on the show and the Jets are coming off a win, which that combo might never happen again. So Jets jersey. Let's go.
Yes, Mike White.
Parker is the Ginger Grim Reaper.
Yes.
All righty. Let's hop right into it. What do you think, Zebo? What do you got for us?
First of all, they want to know what our records are. I just looked real quick. I'm miraculously, I believe, 27-27, 500 through 50-something games.
It's pretty impressive. I think we're all positive. Ethan, are you positive yet?
No, the first like 5 weeks were pretty rough for me, so I have some catching up to do. But these last 3 weeks, I've been over 500 each week, so
no longer the resident fader. So
true.
That's how it goes. It's a game of waves and cycles, fellas.
Ups and downs.
Speaking of what Parker brought up, we can start with the absolute monstrous performance we saw from the Jets' future Mike White. I can't tell you much about him. I usually know where 90% of NFL players went to college. I can't tell you where he went to college, fortunately. Does anyone know here?
Yeah, he went to Western Kentucky when they played in the Boca Raton Bowl.
Boca Raton, what the Beak Bowl, yeah.
All right, so we
got Team Awareness Bowl.
We got Mike White somehow 10.5 point underdogs. That's a little ridiculous. I haven't made a pick on that yet. I know where I'm leaning. Against possibly the most polarizing quarterback in the NFL in Carson Wentz, who threw possibly the single worst interception I've ever seen last week. That was embarrassing, despite having probably the best receiver in the NFL on his team, because Michael Pittman's just an absolute dog.
I think I threw an identical interception when I played like JV high school ball. So the
thing is, in all fairness, that interception that saved them. I mean, he goes down there. That's a safety. He goes down there. That's a safety, and they get the ball back. So I mean,
or you just throw it to the running back's feet and not in the air.
Well, he was getting hit. He's getting tackled. What's the man got to do?
Also on NFL Live, Dan Orlovsky said the interception he threw in overtime was a worse interception than that.
At least he didn't go out the back of the end zone. But yeah. So I think the main thing to talk about in this game, I was shocked at this. I almost lost my mind because I almost lost to it. Michael Carter just pounding just through the air on the ground, 30-something points, I think. He was the RB1 last week out of nowhere.
Over the last 2 weeks, I think he's overall RB3.
That's crazy.
I'm so mad because I drafted him in our league, and I just dropped him because the first few weeks he was doing nothing. I needed a roster spot.
Love me some UNC backs. Ethan's still with the worst one somehow.
I got Javonte still. I ran with the wrong guy.
So I think we got to talk about Michael Carter as season. Personally, I think people are freaking out right now. People are calling him RB1. I think it was like over the last 2 weeks, running backs have had a 40% target share in that offense. That number is stupid. Like normally, like I think like over the last like season or two, the Jets and like the majority of the NFL have had around like a 20% RB target share. So while it is probably helping Ty Johnson more, we still saw Michael Carter get 9, something large amount of catches and targets, which really boosts him because he only scored 1 touchdown still. So I personally do not think he's going to be like a top 15 running back. I think that target share is going to regress a little bit, especially when Mormon Mahomes comes back and just starts slinging it down the field. So I see Michael Carter. He definitely took the job over. That's definitely his now. So I see him as a back end RB2, top 24. But people are freaking out way too much right now.
I think if you can find someone in your league that thinks that he is like borderline RB1, you should trade him to that team, because if you can get something of that value for him, I would totally trade him away.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Zeeb on this one in terms of where I see Michael Carter rest of season. I think that he is probably right in that RB2 range. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's fun to ride the Mike White wave. But you got to imagine that it'll come crashing down at some point. Although that performance was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw, but some dude put $1,000 on Mike White.
Yeah, more yards than Mahomes and
crazy. Decided to ride with it. Ended up being a great decision. I think he crashed out 125,000.
Yep.
Crazy. Nice check. But I don't really have much on this. I think Michael Carter is going to be an RB2 rest of season. Michael Pittman, absolute dog. Thank you, Zebo, for trading him. And thank you, Parker, for not insisting on taking him in our little 3-way sleeper trade. I like Indy here, minus 10.5. I think Indianapolis is a very good team. I like Carson Wentz. I think he is a good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback, personally. And you've seen it. He's been playing pretty well. My only concern with Carson Wentz is, and I don't know how feasible this is, but what's the record right now? They're 2-5?
No, I think they're 3
they definitely have at least 3.
I think they're 3-5.
3-5. All right. So I mean, if they start losing, right? Like I don't think they'll lose this week to the Jets, but in the event that they do, and then they lose again, you're looking at a situation where they have to give a first-round draft pick to Miami if he plays
Eagles.
To the Eagles. If he plays 75% of the games?
Yeah, it's either 75% or 70%, and they make the playoffs.
Okay, so how likely is a scenario where Carson Wentz is benched just to avoid having to pay that premium? If there's no feasible way for them to make the playoffs, or they don't think that it's likely. Now things might change with this Derrick Henry injury in their division. We'll see how that works out. But what do you guys think?
I don't. How much is y'all? I don't think Sam Ehlinger is very good. But how much does that offense change? Like Carson Wentz is all right. I think you're making him better than he actually is. I saw him at least 6 or 7 times just do like the Mahomes fucking he's down there somewhere to Pittman, and Pittman came down with it. Like, who is that really affecting? Like, you're not starting Carson Wentz.
I think also the issue is, if this was basketball, I can kind of see that happening where they would just shut the guy down. But I don't think that's going to fly in the NFL. I mean, the Eagles did it with freaking Sudfeld in the last game of the season. City almost burned down. So I don't know if they're going to do that or not.
I don't know.
The Eagles have been pretty if that happens with Wentz, because they'll have 3 top 10 picks probably.
That is true. Zebo, about Carson Wentz blasphemy. The man is a QB1 this year. He is the 12.
Really?
He's number 12 on the year.
Definitely not on points per game basis.
Tomato, number 12.
All right, well, good for him. Okay.
I can't trust him.
Yeah, I think really you're starting Pittman and you're starting JT out of this offense. I think JT is honestly the RB1 for the rest of the year, no matter what happens with Wentz.
Yeah.
Oh, he will be the number 1.
Last year I had JT and Pittman, and thankfully Marlon Mack tore his Achilles.
Whoa,
able to show JT
up on air. Okay, moving on. Where were we at? Oh boy, I wanted to talk about this one. Houston, Miami, ugly ass game.
The Deshaun Watson Bowl.
Yeah, Tua's got to prove his worth here.
They should just activate him for this game just for shits and giggles.
That would be hilarious.
What the fuck went on in the Texans running back room? Because we didn't have that high expectations for DJ, but we thought he'd see more than one carry. We thought Scotty Phillips definitely wouldn't be the leading rusher for that team. But here we are, and Scotty Phillips led that team.
Who?
Who is right?
Who the fuck is that guy?
I did not watch a single second of the Rams Texans game, so this is the first time hearing about this game.
Obviously, they got fucking boat race. They were not in that game for a single second.
And then they backdoor covered, depending
Yeah,
on
they covered.
That was tough, but no one's surprised. So they never had a chance to actually establish a run game. I was a little surprised Dave Johnson didn't get more used to the passing game, but I mean, again, you still have Nick God back there. So, like, there's only so much that can go on. I still don't think this is a representation of the actual Texans offense, if that exists. I think once Tyrod's back, we'll get a clearer picture. I still think it's DJ's backfield, and I still don't think it's that valuable because it's the Texans backfield. I still don't know who the fuck Scotty Phillips is. So,
you went to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
The more you know.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's really all I have to say on this game. It's ugly. I don't want to play. I was just so confused. What the fuck was going on with that running back room?
Well, they did activate Tyrod. He's practicing, right? He was limited today.
I think so.
Yeah, he's like in his practice window.
I mean, I think Miami should win this game, but I'm not very confident about that. I mean, to me, this feels like a Tua revenge game, pseudo revenge game. He's got to prove his worth, showing that, they shouldn't have traded for Deshaun Watson, which obviously they didn't do. But yeah, the fantasy ramifications on Houston is hard to predict, and until probably Tyrod gets back and you get some more clarity into that offense.
I think for Miami, you could play Tua this week and maybe even Devontae Parker. He got 11 targets last week in his game back from the IR. Waddle maybe, but there's not a whole lot of fantasy options here.
I think Gesicki has honestly been hurt a lot from Devontae coming back. Yeah, like as other options get come back, like Fuller comes back. I think Gesicki's gonna get phased out.
I also think that this is a great spot for Myles Gaskin. I think that he will have a top 24 performance this week against Houston. I think Miami's going to win this game pretty handedly. Personally, I think that they are much better than the Texans. I don't know if I'm going to take any direction on 6.5 is a lot. I don't know.
You just said they were going to win handily.
Yeah, I know, but am I comfortable enough to throw that they'll win by a touchdown? I don't know. So I guess we'll see. I will never. I guess we'll see.
I guess we will. We always do.
That being said, I like Myles Gaskin for a top 24 performance on this, but like you guys said, no crazy fantasy ramifications here.
You got to hope the Dolphins come out firing, get up early, and then just milk it and the ball.
Bold take calling a starting running back on one of the 28 teams playing a top 24 back. But that's fun.
Oof. Fire.
I didn't catch that. What'd you say?
There's 28 teams playing, and you said the.
Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. I should have said top 15.
15?
15.
Okay.
15?
That's a little.
Top 15.
That's a little spicier.
Top 15.
Okay. Moving on. Let's see. We got the Broncos as almost double-digit underdogs, 9.5 to the Cowboys, who had the cousin of one of our men in here lead them to a victory last week. I'm assuming your cousin to them, Parker. Cooper Rush.
I can confirm.
Awesome. And so, Big thing here that I feel like it's still going to be brought up every week is whether or not Javonte is actually taking over that backfield, or if Melvin Gordon will just fall in
Please.
the end zone twice as
Please.
Javonte does all the other work. I think this is getting ridiculous. I want Javonte to break out so bad, and then Melvin just falls in the end zone twice, and it's pissing me off. I don't own Javonte anywhere. I just want to see him take over. And Melvin's just always there, and I honestly don't know if he's going to go away.
I hope he does see it as someone who has to continually start him because the rest of my running backs are hogwash. I hope he takes over. He's clearly the more talented back. I don't get it. But Dallas should, I think, destroy. I mean, I would be more confident, obviously, if Dak was playing. But Cooper Rush played pretty well. Besides he had an interception and a fumble on Sunday night. But you got to feel pretty confident if you still have the Dallas skill players. CD went off, Amari went off. So you don't have to be hesitant if Cooper Rush is playing.
Running back struggled a little bit in that game.
Yeah.
Is that something you think that will continue, or is that just a
I think it was a
blip on the radar?
Yeah, no, I don't know if Tony Pollard is going to be startable going forward. I think, like, in the beginning of the year, he looked like he could be a flex play, like high end RB3. But I think that's Zeke's backfield, and it's not going to be like a Chubb Hunt kind of thing. I think that's pretty established. I don't know how it looks with Cooper Rush. I mean, obviously he's not going to be there for like that. I don't know what Dak's looking like this week. I'm assuming he's going to practice, and like he was close last week. So I don't have any concerns in Zeke.
I do want to see how Dalton Schultz does with both Dak and likely Michael Gallup. Just because, Dalton Schultz had sort of transformed and transcended into this top tier tight end for a little bit. But that's without Michael Gallup, obviously. And I think Sunday, Dak's going to play Sunday. Right. Like that all indications.
I think they could probably rest him. They have such a big lead in the NFC East that they could probably, hold him back if they want to.
And Denver's defense was falling off the rails a little bit even before the Von Miller trade. So now take him out of the equation as well. Their defense might become like one of those like sneaky easy plays that you wouldn't expect that happens towards the middle of fantasy football seasons, where you see like the Patriots a couple years ago where they were dog water for the first half of the year and then just transcended into like a super solid week winning performances. But I think that the opposite could take place with the Denver Broncos. I think that as time goes on, their defense might become more and more susceptible, and they might become a sneaky good matchup against certain positions.
Also, yeah, it looks like Dak's going to play this week for sure. So.
Yeah, so see how Schultz, Gallup, and Dak factor in, and hopefully we learn something about how that dynamic is going to look moving forward.
Anything from you, Parker?
Not really. No, I think you guys hit everything.
All right. Moving on, Minnesota, 6-point underdogs to the Baltimore Ravens. You know what you're getting out of this game, fantasy wise. So I don't have much to touch on there. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to talk about in this game. Pretty straightforward.
I want to see if this slump for Minnesota's offense is going to become like it. Like, I think because they underperformed this week or this previous week, this prior week, and then week 7 they were on bye, but immediately before the bye, Kirk Cousins had like a fantastic game, right? So I think that, they had an off performance right after the bye, maybe a little bit slow getting out of the gate. But I think that it'll be a nice little test to see if their offense is where we thought it was.
So I think one big thing that I've seen in the past is whenever the Vikings go on a little skid, Zimmer just he hammers the run. So I think that coming off of last week, that they're going to rely on Dalvin.
Well, is that why you traded for him?
There's a lot of reasons I traded for him. It wasn't just this. It's not like anyone has concerns over Dalvin's production.
That's true. That's true. Fair point.
I think also you have to take into account that it was a Kirk Cousins in primetime game. And
That's true.
Kirk Cousins forgets how to play football in primetime.
That should be a case study about like the psychology of that man, because there's something about
Or Danny Dimes in there.
You would just find out that he's soft. That's all.
Kirk.
I think him not being in prime time. I actually really like the Vikings in this game getting 6 points. I'm taking that. I think Minnesota might actually win this game, so I'm like heavy on that this week. I think play all your Vikings that you normally play. Tyler Conklin, until last week, had been like a sneaky good streaming tight end the past few weeks. You could do worse than playing him this week.
would you play Conklin or Freiermuth?
Probably Pat Freiermuth. He's
The
been
GOAT.
breaking out.
Conklin
The Moose.
or
The move.
Albert something.
Alberto.
would you
I
play
don't know.
Conklin or Evan Ingram against the Raiders?
Ingram.
I would-
Or Bonzo.
Well, no. Serious question though. Him or Albert I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's just
No, he has a whole last name.
It's a whole ass last name.
No,
It is very long.
It's not like Harry S. Truman. Like, it's not like just S. I mean, it's
no
Albert
comment.
Oak
comment.
Oakwig Bunam. I
That's
definitely
that's the dude that's playing for Fant, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And he every time he catches a shit ton of touchdowns. So, I don't know.
He's a big target.
I think I'd go him over Conklin.
think so. You want to do a bet on that, Zebe?
Oh, I can't pronounce the dude's name.
Come on. That's a
Careful
When
there,
you're
Stephen
down,
A.
when you're down in the middle tier of the tight end twos, if you get in the end zone, you win. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up with 3 catches for 27 yards, and if one of them had me in the end zone,
I'll Evan Ingram last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he caught the ball. I'm surprised he didn't catch it and run backwards and fumble in the end
He
zone.
thought he was hoping for trade value.
Too bad he's still on the team.
So close.
Bum ass.
New England, Carolina. New England, the favorite here, -3.5. I would love to get Parker's take on how he sees the man himself, Sam Darnold's performance lately after the hot start. I know Stens has a very strong opinion on Sam Darnold, and he is just bathing in his sorrows. So I want to know where your head's at.
I've been closer to the opposite end to Stens. I said when he went to Carolina, I hope he does well. I was rooting for Sam because obviously he didn't play well in New York, but I much more blame Adam Gase and just the stank of the Jets organization. So I was happy that he exploded the first 3 weeks, but not shocked that he's just come absolutely plummeting back down to earth, and he looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I'm not going to say I'm happy to see it happen, but the fact that you can't tell who's worse right now, Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold,
I know who I'm taking long term. It's not the man who sees ghosts. Speaking of that,
I think.
DJ Moore, beginning of the year, was a top 5 receiver, and over the last 3 or 4 weeks, definitely putting up some duds. And so he's getting heavy targets. He's getting 9 points on the targets game. But I mean, a Sam Darnold target worth between 60-70% of the average quarterback target. So he's kind of someone difficult to see going forward. He could, I don't see him being a top 10 receiver the rest of the way, like he looked at the beginning of the season. But his target share is just so large that like
Numbers are there. I think you got to keep playing him. Like I have him a couple places, and I look at the other options, and I was like, they get half or like 60% of the targets that he gets. Like, are those targets really going to be that much more worth it? So most places I continue to play DJ, but I agree.
Volume is king, but volume is king, but volume from Sam Darnold is shit. So
I think it's going to be PJ Walker this week.
I'm gonna go top 12. I mean, the thing is, he was playing good at the beginning of the season. Christian McCaffrey goes down. That whole team has trouble adjusting, right? I don't think Christian McCaffrey plays this week, unfortunately. And I think that it's not out of the equation that he doesn't play 2 weeks from now either, right? Like, I don't think that this team is going, especially if they're putting out PJ Walker out there this week, right? Like, I think that it's a total wash, and I do not believe that they are going to end up activating McCaffrey for this game. Like, it would serve them no long-term benefit. For this week specifically, I don't like DJ Moore, right? They are against the Patriots, good defense, right? Like, historically speaking, Bill has been very good at stopping the number one threat. This season, it's not so much the case.
I did take one Mike Will last week.
Yeah. So I mean, granted that offense didn't look good, period. But how much of that is because of New England? So I don't like DJ Moore this week for a variety of reasons. PJ Walker being one of them. And then secondly, it's against New England. But that being said, I think when Christian McCaffrey comes back, I think that's when this offense looked its best. And obviously, that makes sense. He's their best player by a country mile. So I'll take top 12 rest of the year. As for this game, I'm going to smash New England plus 3.5.
They're favored.
Minus 3.5. So,
yeah, I would probably stay away from most Carolina Panthers unless you have to start like Hubbard or DJ Moore. But I mean, Bill Belichick is, I assume, going to play crazy mind games with PJ Walker if it's him out there. I think it's probably going to be a long, long day at the office for PJ.
Big Robbie Anderson game.
Robbie Anderson game, yeah, absolutely.
Big Terrace Marshall game.
7 drops for 47 yards. It's my projection.
That man is infuriating. I can't believe I fucking had I pulled for him during one of these episodes. I said this is gonna be a bounce back spot for Robbie Anderson.
I made fun of you.
Yeah. I said this is gonna be a bounce back spot for Robbie Anderson. Bounce just as much as a fucking bowling ball. It made me sick to my stomach.
Brandon Zylstra's doing better than me on the year.
Hey guys, let me tell you something. The Jets stink takes a long time to wear off of people. A long time.
Then explain like last year he forgot he was a Jet. Now it's all coming back to him.
No, because he put on some air freshener, some cologne.
Yeah, okay, it's temporary.
But eventually the stank comes.
It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Body spray.
Exactly. That's body spray, right? It's not going to solve
School locker room.
But for an hour, you'll smell all right.
Next game, moving on. Buffalo favored by a large margin over the Urban Meyers, 14.5 points. I actually last week went to Urban Meyer's Pint House where the incident occurred, and went up to the bartender and asked where the seat was, and he wasn't having it because I'm assuming he's been asked about that a lot.
Oh, I bet.
So
I imagine, Steve, it's kind of like when you after the hangover and you go into Caesar's Palace and you're like, did Caesar actually
exactly
stay
what
here?
it was. And I was like, yeah, I knew that was coming. So I didn't get to see where the seat was, but I was in the place where the asshole fisting occurred. So
Did you bring a blue light?
I didn't, unfortunately. That would have been good call. Buffalo favored 14.5 points here. A few things to think about here. J-Rob, of course, saw the report today. Urban said he was bleeding out. That was a bold choice of words. I think it was
bleeding out.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Go look it up. I think it was some sort of drain procedure or something for his ankle.
Oh,
I'm not entirely sure, but he straight up said J-Rob was bleeding out. So that was a concerning headline. So he's questionable. Urban sounds like he's making it sound like J-Rob's going to play. However, I'm assuming he's hoping that's not the case because he just has an adoration for Carlos Hyde. going back to his college days. So big storyline for the Jags here is if J-Rob isn't healthy, Hyde is going to get 98% of snaps, and he'll probably be a top 15 running back on the week. J-Rob's healthy, he's going to do J-Rob things. On the other side, Bills, not much.
Wait. Let me. You're
What?
saying that Carlos Hyde is going to be a top 15 running back if he plays.
If J-Rob doesn't play.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if he's the guy.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I'm not putting I'm not like slamming the table for it, but like Urban loves Carlos Hyde, adores him, and so he would get every snap possible, and so I just think he'd get the volume there.
Yeah, but the thing is, like Buffalo is gonna mollywop the Jaguars, so it's not like it's gonna be a positive game script where he's gonna like rush 15 times.
You get the receiving work too.
I don't know. I don't think I would bench Carlos. I would not play Carlos Hyde this week. Go. Would you play Carlos Hyde or?
I think you compare him to Devontae Booker right now.
That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
If J-Rob doesn't play, I think I would play Hyde over Booker.
Yeah. Where's your head at for this one?
Against Buffalo?
He's gonna get all the volume. It's not that,
but it's against Buffalo. It's a horrible match.
J-Rob, who comes after Carlos Hyde?
I'm not saying that he's not going to be the primary guy. I'm not saying that he's not going to be the primary guy. He's the primary guy, but it's against Buffalo. Like, is it out of the realm that Buffalo goes up 21-0 with 6 minutes left in the second?
Realize it really doesn't take a lot to be a top 15 running back. Like, running back is a hellhole right now. Like, you need 10, like Hyde. He's going to end with if he starts, he's probably going to end with 20 touches, whether it's through the air or on the ground.
Okay, how confident are you in this? Because I'll bet you on it.
I just said I'm not slamming the table for it, but I don't know why you're so egregiously against it.
I am so egregiously against it.
I like Carlos Hyde.
I'm like gambling man. What's the bet?
Let's say $20.
On what are the terms?
Carlos Hyde, top 15 running back.
Oh no, I would do the Carlos Hyde versus Devontae Booker thing.
What if Devontae Booker doesn't play? Saquon tested negative today.
No, he's not playing.
Saquon's out.
Saquon's out, like officially?
Saquon, no, he's on the COVID list, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
If J-Rob doesn't play, I will take Hyde over Booker.
Okay, deal. And instead of doing the cash, how about one of us has to put on a silly costume for the next show that we do?
Lock it in.
Chosen by the other dude.
Lock it in.
All right. Cool.
That's fun. All right, let's go.
Okay.
I'm sure this is contingent upon J-Rob not playing.
Yeah, of course.
Correct. Yes, it is.
All
So next week, if J-Rob does play, we just have no.
Yeah, to watch.
Yeah.
But I like Carlos Hyde in this game if J-Rob doesn't play. I mean, he's going to get all the snaps.
Nets are winning some throwback games. Moving. So on the other side of the Bills, one thing I actually do want to talk about is Zach Moss has been getting a lot of volume as a pass catcher. We saw Manny actually put up a donut. Sorry, that was
Nice.
but he was being shadowed all game, and so was Diggs. So that kind of explained Cole Beasley's huge game. So I wouldn't really be too worried about Manny or Diggs because they both got shadowed by very good defensive backs. But Zach Moss, I think he's been getting a lot of targets, and they've kind of I think he's like a top 50, could be a top 15 back going forward. Top 20 more realistically, but with all the volume he's getting through the air, I really like Zach Moss.
I think you got it for Moss. You got to rely on the receiving because running the ball, he's not getting much yard. That offensive line is not great for running the ball. Like last week against Dolphins, he went 8 for 19. Not good, but he did have 7 targets.
See, that's what he's getting a lot of receiving work. So I think he has a good floor to be a top 15, top 20 back.
How many targets did he get in that game against the Texans? Because I'd be interested to see if that same like passing volume persists even when they're up.
Well, they were up. I mean,
that's an outlier game though. That like they're not gonna
You don't
race
play-
every
you don't
team
play
like
quick.
that. They might this week, but that's like an outlier game script.
Yeah, but you also have to factor in. I know he hasn't been good either, but Devin Singletary is not going to fall off the face of the earth. He's still going to be there. I don't know. I don't know if I've seen enough.
I mean, as someone who has Zach Moss on his team, I don't feel overly confident putting him in my lineup, but I kind of have to. So
We don't have time to talk about all your issues. You're going through a lot right now. We get it.
I got people getting COVID after saying they were vaccinated but not vaccinated. I got people leaving football for mental health reasons. I mean, what are we doing?
He's immunized.
He's immunized, yeah, because he's taking voodoo medicine.
Or that horse tranquilizer stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys have any plays on the betting side of this, or
I think
Buffalo minus
Buffalo's
14.5.
shellac 'em.
seem to have a
Buffalo.
I mean, they came out flat against the Dolphins and still covered that game. I mean, I think they're gonna shellac,
Buffalo's
mollywop,
so good.
run to the ground. Buffalo, Jacksonville.
Also, while we're on this really quickly, Dan Arnold, last week, I think he got 9 targets?
Yeah, I think he's a good streaming option. He was like the streaming tight ends this week are like they're all pretty close. Like Arnold, I'm sorry if I butchered this, CJ, but Uzama. He came out and was pretty
Uzama.
Him, Alberto, Jared Cook, who I refuse to.
Jared.
Frymouth. Those are the big streaming tight ends. So I really don't know how to rank them. They get in the end zone. Like, congrats, you won the streaming lottery. But they're all around each other. So I think Dan Arnold's in that tier. If you have like Hawk on a bye, I don't know if any other tight ends are on a bye. So yeah. Moving on to the next game, the battle for Ohio. This one's exciting. Sure went to this game. Cleveland against Cincy. Cincy being favored by less than the field goal at 2.5. This will be a good game. There's obviously one looming storyline here, though, and that is Odell Beckham Jr.'s father, which I didn't think I would be saying the words of.
And LeBron James.
And LeBron defending OBJ. You're right. So obviously,
LeBron inserting himself into a story he has no business.
LeBron thing ever.
Typical LeBron being a bitch.
So yeah, for those who didn't see, Odell's father posted an 11-minute video over what song was it? It was something that
it's that song from The Office that Michael kept playing on
opening
repeat because he didn't want to buy.
So yeah, so great production value there. Good job by Odell's father. Baker Strip not part of it. So that was a real mature move. I don't know if Odell had anything to do with that, but
Probably did.
Following that incident, Stefanski came out and said Odell was not going to play another snap for us, pretty much. So shockingly, the Giants won that trade back in the day. I was not a fan of it at the time, but I'll never support Gettleman. But I mean,
I think it's fair to say that Eli Manning made Odell Beckham.
I think there's no other way around it. Obviously.
I mean, that's to me what I've seen and what's transpired.
So
I think they're gonna cut him. Like,
yeah, they're going.
Oh, they're absolutely going to cut him.
Yeah,
and then the Saints were expressing interest in him at the trade deadline, and with this Michael Thomas news,
yeah, I could
Slant boy.
Slant God.
Slant boy. Now that being said, I mean Odell if he does end up in New Orleans, right? Like Taysom Hill is there now.
You just don't know what Odell.
You mean?
Yeah. Do you guys?
This is the Cleveland Cincy breakdown.
That's true.
Seaman.
Good job keeping us on topic, Zebo.
Going off of Odell, definitely not playing that snap, probably getting cut. How do you guys see
Simmons out here.
the receiving room shaking out for this team going forward? Because obviously Landry is going to be peppered with targets. That's
When healthy, play Landry every time.
Yep. And honestly, DPJ, he's looked good whenever he's gotten the opportunity. So I don't know.
I feel like with him, he's always going to get like 2 or 3 deep shots a game, and all it takes is for him to turn one into a touchdown or catch 2, and he already's at 80 yards. And I hope you wouldn't be relying on him for like wide receiver 2 numbers, but if you're just putting him in the flex, and if he gets to like 3 catches, 80 yards, maybe finds the end zone, like
he's a boomer. I think without Odell there, he's a boomer bust wide receiver 3. And
Donovan Peoples-Jones or AJ Green.
I don't think AJ Green is like turn his controller back on.
Now he's got COVID, so
That's true.
Yeah. So I'm taking DPJ long term there. Volume isn't sustainable in Arizona. Especially.
I would also like all of their tight ends. I mean, I don't know how I would rank all of them, but I mean, they're going to have the targets are going to have to go somewhere, and Baker loves throwing.
Well, what targets are we talking about?
And again, this Baker target. I was actually a few of my Browns friends who they were trying to decide. It's a lot of words there.
Brown friends or Browns fans who are friends?
You guys,
I'm your Brown friends.
Thanks, Mo. They were trying to figure out who. Actually, they posed the question to me because I'm not a Browns fan. Is what quarterbacks I would take Baker over, and like next 3 to 5 years. And honestly, I think I came up with 5 names.
just the AFC or in the whole league?
In the NFL. And I think I came up with 5 names. And
I'd rather have Baker over.
I said, here, I can pull it up. But
What are the names, Zebe?
Baker over Tyrod Taylor.
Over
Baker over.
Over Darnold?
No.
Jimmy G, Trey
No.
Lance, Justin Fields,
No.
Zach Wilson.
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Well,
I would take
Big
him
Ben
over.
was going to die in 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I said Big Ben, insert Texans quarterback, Heineke and Goff, and Darnold.
Yeah, I don't know about Darnold.
Okay.
That's the only 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now I would take Baker over.
Yeah, Baker hasn't looked good. He's been like that team's a run heavy. They're just he's fitting in where the team needs him to fit in, I guess. Right? Like they're a run heavy team. They're not like throwing people out of the park, but also, right? Like I also don't think that it's disputed that if they had a better quarterback, that they would be like Super Bowl contenders, like up there with.
Absolutely.
I was like, throw Kirk Cousins in there. They're competing for like a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and back to who gets the bump with Odell out. I actually don't think anybody gets a bump because there wasn't a lot of like Baker wasn't looking at him, right? Like there's a reason we got to this point, and it's because he was not getting the ball. He was not getting targeted, right? Like last game, he was 1 for 6? Was that his final line?
1 for 6, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they're not even looking at him. I still think that this is going to be exactly the same team with the exact same DNA, run heavy, right? And I don't think anybody gets a noticeable bump.
You can see that.
Yeah, I'm just looking like in the first few weeks of the season when Odell was out, I'm like Njoku had like 5 or 6 targets. Hooper had 5 to 6 targets. So I assume that's probably what it's going to be like going forward.
Well, DPJ, was he healthy to begin the season? I thought. I can't remember, but I don't think he played.
I think
He was banged up, I thought.
He played against the Chiefs week 2 or week 1 it was. He went 1 for 4.
I don't know why I remember DPJ like coming off the pup or something. I don't know. Definitely thinking.
He might have been. I think he was hurt going into the season.
Actually, no. He's been active in all but week 4. No, actually, he was active. He just didn't score any. So no, he's been active every week.
I don't know what I was thinking then. Okay, well, yeah. No, actually, I can definitely side with Mo there that there's probably not going to be a significant volume bump anymore.
Now, on the other side of the ball, obviously, Joe Mixon, locked and loaded. Jamar Chase, wide receiver god, locked in. I think T. Higgins, I don't know if you can call him a buy low. I certainly don't think that people are as high as they were on him before. Or like at the start of the season. He's been serviceable, but I think that he's going to get better. I think he's going to outperform what he's done the first half of the year on a points per game basis, because I think he missed a couple games with an injury. So I think that he'll be one of those people that, really turn it on in the second half. So
Was he the one with the crazy catch, or was that Boyd? Because either way, that was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
I think it was Higgins on the sideline
Yeah.
at like the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Higgins.
That catch was crazy, followed by Keelan Cole's not catch, which pissed me off.
Yeah, so I like T. Higgins there in that spot. I think that Tyler Boyd in some situations, like I equate Tyler Boyd to like a Christian Kirk, right? Like some games but without the upside of Christian Kirk either.
He's forgotten in that offense.
Yeah,
Like,
so
he's a good receiver, but
yeah.
Higgins and Chaser's good.
Overall, I like Cincy minus 2.5 here. I think that's I think they beat him by a field goal.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati wins. I mean, I'm pretty pissed at Cincinnati because I had them against the Jets in a suicide pool, but I should have seen that coming off a big one against Baltimore, looking ahead to Cleveland with
White.
Savage, that is Mike White in the middle there. But I think they get back on track. I think there's too much turmoil going around in Cleveland with all this Odell stuff, and I think Cincinnati gets back on track here.
Yeah, I think this line's an overreaction to Cincinnati's loss last week. I think if they hadn't played the Jets in between, I think Cincy would be favored by more like 5 or 6. So I'm definitely taking Cincy minus 2.5 here. Real quick, back to the T. Higgins and Cincinnati receivers. I think if you're a believer in Joe Burrow's progress, which I for sure am, I think he's going to be a top 5 to 3 quarterback for the next 5 years. You want to get not rest of the year, but so for me, I just made a bunch of trades in the Dynasty League last night, and Higgins is one of the pieces I got in. And I just think that as Joe Burrow grows, he's just going to be able to provide more for his receiving options. So I would even be buying on Tyler Boyd, who you guys are right. He's the clear third option in that offense, but that offense is just going to be great for a while. So
plus, I mean, Dynasty, Boyd, he's a good receiver. So even if he goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Elsewhere. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, Burrow will be a future-wise top 5 quarterback.
Absolutely. But I think that just about does it for the first part of our Week 9 NFL preview. Went through 7 of the games slated for this weekend. Join us for part 2. Coming out tomorrow, we're discussing the second half. Same sort of stuff, going through every game, talking about the fantasy relevant stuff that you need. Thinking ahead, doing a little bit of who would you rather. Who do you want on your team? Who do you think is going to perform well? Whole bunch of everything, and giving you a little edge at the sports book. I reiterate, 4 of the 5 at the Fantasy 4 are either even or positive. So, I mean, call it what you want, but I call it success.
Network is your net worth.
Absolutely. I'm not a business man. I'm a business man.
You did that terribly.
I know. I fumbled that so poorly, but thank you guys so much. And we'll be back at it for part 2 of our Week 9 NFL preview.